Vampire syndrome, hypohidrotic ectodermal dysplasia. This condition gives individuals pale skin, pointed teeth, dark eye circles, and a thin build, leading to a vampire-like appearance. Though this might sound intriguing, people with this syndrome have to avoid sunlight and monitor their body temperature, as they lack sweat glands to regulate heat. Actor Michael Berryman, who has this disorder, is one well-known example. Hyperlexia. Children who start reading fluently between ages 2 and 4 and become obsessed with letters or numbers might have hyperlexia. Although they can read aloud, they often lack comprehension. The cause is unclear, but there may be a link to autism, with around 84% of hyperlexic children reportedly having an autism diagnosis. Tetrachromacy. Most humans have 3 types of cone cells that allow them to see a certain range of colors. In contrast, people with tetrachromacy have an additional cone type, giving them the ability to see colors most humans can't even imagine. While animals like birds and some fish commonly have 4 types of cones, tetrachromacy in humans is so rare that some scientists doubt it exists. There has, however, been a documented case of a woman with a 4th cone type that allowed her to see colors beyond the standard human range. Polymelia. Polymelia is a rare genetic condition where a person is born with extra limbs. In most cases, these additional limbs are underdeveloped, misshapen, or non-functional. However, this was not the situation for Deepak Palwan from India. He was born with 4 fully functional arms and 4 fully functional legs, which led pilgrims from all over India to visit and worship him, as Hindu deities are often depicted with multiple limbs. Eventually, scientists determined that the extra limbs came from a parasitic twin that hadn't fully developed in the womb and had fused with Deepak. Since the limbs moved unpredictably and were only partially under his control, they were later removed, allowing him to live a more typical life. Hyperthymestic Syndrome. People with hyperthymestic syndrome can recall large amounts of seemingly random information, giving them what seems like superhuman memory. However, they have no control over what they remember, so they might retain trivial details but struggle with studying for an upcoming exam. In fact, some individuals with this condition appear to have below-average memory for things they actively try to remember. They describe their memory as a chain of automatic associations. For instance, seeing a date triggers a vivid mental picture of that day without any effort. Sadly, this condition can make long-term relationships difficult and lead to loneliness. People with hyperthymesia also find it hard to let go of painful memories, which can remain with them for life. Thankfully, it is extremely rare, with fewer than 100 diagnosed cases worldwide. Myostatin-Related Muscle Hypertrophy. This condition grants individuals remarkable strength by giving them over twice the typical muscle mass. It is due to a mutation in the MSTN gene, which usually restricts muscle growth but fails to do so here. Liam Hoekstra is a well-known example, displaying impressive strength from a very young age. He could pull himself up by 8 months, had a six-pack at 3, and could lift 3 kilograms dumbbells with his arm outstretched by the time he was 3. This condition is unusual in that it doesn't bring any known health complications. Stoneman Syndrome, fibrodysplasia ossificans progressiva. In this condition, people grow bone tissue in place of damaged body parts, rather than replacing it with the original tissue. For example, if a person with this disorder injures a muscle, bone will grow in its place instead of new muscle tissue. It is the only known condition where one body system transforms into another. Over time, the new bone fuses with the existing skeleton, making movement increasingly difficult, which is why it's called Stoneman Syndrome. Unfortunately, the disease is nearly always fatal. Removing these bone formations is ineffective because if cut, they will grow back even more aggressively. Savant Syndrome, sometimes associated with autism or Asperger's, Savant Syndrome allows individuals to excel in certain tasks, such as math, art, cartography, and other skills. Stephen Wiltshire, a person with Savant Syndrome, is famously able to draw intricate maps of cities like London after viewing them just once from above. People with this syndrome usually have exceptional ability in one specific area but may struggle with social interaction. Congenital insensitivity to pain. This rare condition affects roughly 1 in 25,000 people and prevents them from feeling physical pain. A gene mutation prevents the development of pain-sensitive nerve cells, so affected individuals can't understand what pain feels like. Though they feel emotions and touch sensations, they cannot feel pain. While this might seem advantageous, pain is vital for survival, and people with this condition often face life-threatening injuries without realizing it. In Sweden, an unusual number of cases are found in a village called Vanji. Trodentro Osus syndrome. This genetic mutation gives people incredibly dense and resilient bones, making them strong enough to reportedly break bats and endure high-impact accidents without injury. This is due to a mutation in the DLX3 gene, which regulates bone density. Unfortunately, affected individuals often suffer from fragile teeth, brittle nails, and dry, curly hair. Researchers are studying this syndrome as a possible treatment for osteoporosis, a condition that weakens bones in elderly people.